Back in the Miocene, you could get killed by a lot of things. Big cats, bear dogs, giant herbivores with bad attitudes. But one predator didn't look like it belonged in that lineup at all, because it looked like a pig. And that's exactly why it was terrifying. Because Daeodon wasn't a farm animal. It was a walking cleanup crew with teeth. The hell pig. Welcome to the Miocene, where nature decided to build a predator that made no sense on paper. A massive skull, bone-crushing jaws, and the confidence of something that knew it didn't need claws to ruin you. The first thing you'd notice about Daeodon, assuming you lived long enough to notice anything, was the head. At nearly 3 feet long, the skull alone was roughly the size of a modern grey wolf, except significantly more robust and built for an entirely different purpose. Where wolves have relatively graceful skulls, designed for slashing bites and pack coordination, Daeodon's skull was a biological sledgehammer. The jaw muscles attached to a sagittal crest that ran along the top of the skull like a mohawk made of bone, providing anchor points for some of the most powerful bite muscles in its ecosystem. We're talking about a bite force estimated at over 1,000 pounds per square inch. Not quite matching a modern hippopotamus, but in the same brutal ballpark. Unlike modern pigs with their relatively simple dental arrangement, Daeodon sported a mouthful of specialized instruments. Prominent canines jutted from the jaw. Not the delicate tusks of a warthog, but genuine stabbing implements. Behind those sat premolars and molars, with blunt, crushing surfaces capable of processing bone. This wasn't the dentition of an animal that nibbled on roots and the occasional insect. This was the mouth of something that saw other animals as calories. Now scale up from that nightmare skull to the full package. Daeodon stretched roughly 10 feet from snout to tail, about the length of a compact car, and stood nearly 6 feet tall at the shoulder. Weight estimates push well beyond 1,200 pounds, placing it firmly in the range of the largest modern bears. The body was stocky and powerfully built, supported by those infamous hooves. 2 weight-bearing hooves on each foot, rather than the 4-toed arrangement seen in modern pigs. This gave Daeodon a stable, forward-driven stance, built for supporting massive weight, practical when you're built like a linebacker with a battering ram for a head. The legs were relatively long for an entelodont, the family name for these Terminator pigs, suggesting Daeodon could maintain decent speed over open ground. Not cheetah fast, but probably capable of an intimidating charge that would make most prey think twice about their life choices. Here's where things get genuinely weird. Hooves are built for running, specifically running away from things, or covering huge distances to reach food. They're the trademark of herbivores: deer, horses, cattle, antelope, animals that rely on speed and endurance to escape predators, cross open country, or migrate across vast landscapes chasing seasonal vegetation. Hooves sacrifice the gripping power of claws for one brutal advantage: efficiency in a straight line, forward, and fast. Yet Daeodon had hooves, and also ate meat. Potentially a lot of meat. This apparent contradiction has made entelodonts one of the more debated groups in paleontology. Were they primarily scavengers, using those powerful jaws to crack open bones after other predators had taken the prime cuts? Were they opportunistic omnivores, eating whatever they could catch or find? Or were they active predators despite their unconventional equipment? The evidence suggests yes to all three, depending on circumstances and opportunity. Fossil sites have revealed Daeodon remains alongside broken bones from various prey species, with tooth marks matching the distinctive pattern of entelodont dentition. The wear patterns on their teeth show evidence of bone consumption. Lots of it. But here's the fascinating part. Their teeth also show wear consistent with processing plant material and possibly tubers or roots. Daeodon was flexible, lethally, unpredictably flexible. Imagine encountering one along a Miocene riverbank. It's not the ambush predator that a big cat would be. You'd probably hear it coming, those hooves drumming against hard-packed earth. But it doesn't need stealth when it has something more valuable: persistence and raw power. Modern pigs, despite their domesticated reputation, are shockingly fast over short distances and dangerously aggressive when motivated. Scale that up to 1,200 pounds, add crushing jaws, and remove any trace of domestication, and you have something genuinely terrifying. Any active hunting likely involved more brute force than finesse. Daeodon may have targeted younger or weaker individuals from prey herds, relying on an explosive charge to close distance before the victim could accelerate to full speed. Once those jaws closed on a limb or neck, the fight was essentially over. The bone-crushing bite meant Daeodon could disable prey quickly and efficiently, without the need for prolonged, energy-intensive pursuit. And when hunting proved unsuccessful, no problem. That same jaw strength made Daeodon an excellent scavenger, capable of accessing nutritious bone marrow that other predators couldn't efficiently reach. Finding a 3-day-old carcass wasn't a disappointment, it was an opportunity. The North America that Daeodon called home would be almost unrecognizable today. 20 to 23 million years ago, during the early Miocene, the continent was warmer and more humid than our current climate. The Rocky Mountains were rising, but hadn't yet reached their full modern height. Much of the Great Plains was covered in mixed grasslands and open woodlands. Not the dense forests of earlier epochs, but not yet the sea of grass that would dominate in later periods. Rivers carved through landscapes rich with volcanic activity, creating a patchwork environment where forest met plain and wetland-bordered dry upland. This was Daeodon's hunting ground, and it wasn't alone. The ecosystem teemed with potential prey: 3-toed horses, small pony-sized creatures that would look almost alien next to their modern descendants, moved in herds across the grasslands. Early camels, yes, camels, browsed on vegetation, their long necks allowing them to reach foliage other herbivores couldn't access. Rhinoceroses, including early forms with small paired nasal horns, grazed alongside peccaries and other pig-like herbivores. The biomass was substantial, creating a prey base that could support multiple large predators. Which brings us to the competition. Daeodon shared its territory with the bear dogs, or amphicyonids, creatures that looked like someone couldn't decide whether to make a bear or a wolf and just combined the blueprints. Some species were lithe and dog-like, built for running down prey in packs. Others were massive, solitary hunters that rivaled Daeodon in size and aggression. The larger bear dogs had their own bone-crushing capabilities and likely competed directly with Daeodon for both prey and carrion. Early canids existed, but remained small and unspecialized. The real pressure came from amphicyonids, some of which were capable of coordinated hunting and direct competition at carcasses. The result was a complex, dangerous ecosystem where multiple apex predators navigated an uneasy coexistence. Daeodon's advantage was versatility. It could hunt, scavenge, and supplement its diet with plant material when necessary. It could tackle prey that the more specialized predators might struggle with, and it could monopolize carcasses through sheer bite power and aggression. But versatility, as it turns out, isn't always enough. For millions of years, entelodonts were wildly successful. They spread across North America, Europe, and Asia, diversifying into numerous species and dominating their ecosystems. Daeodon itself represented one of the last and largest of these lineages, the culmination of the entelodont strategy taken to its extreme conclusion. And then, relatively suddenly in geological terms, they disappeared. By around 16 to 17 million years ago, Daeodon was gone. The entire entelodont family would vanish not long after, disappearing entirely by the mid-Miocene. What happened? climate change provided the stage. The Miocene was a period of significant environmental transformation. The global climate began cooling and drying, particularly in the middle latitudes. The mixed woodland grassland habitats that Daeodon thrived in began shifting toward more open grasslands. This might seem like a minor adjustment, but for a large predator, habitat changes ripple through every aspect of survival. As grasslands expanded, the prey species changed with the environment. Horses got larger and faster, developing longer legs better suited for sustained running across open terrain. Their teeth shifted too, built to handle the tougher grasses that dominated the new landscape. Camels and early deer went through similar changes. The easy targets, slower, smaller herbivores suited to mixed woodland environments, became scarcer. Meanwhile, the competition was shifting in dangerous directions. The bear dogs were diversifying into forms better suited for open country hunting. Early canids were beginning to expand and diversify, setting the stage for the pack hunting strategies that would later make them dominant predators. These were animals that could run down prey over long distances in terrain, where Daeodon's hooves and bulk became liabilities rather than assets. Perhaps more critically, the scavenging niche that had provided Daeodon with a reliable supplemental food source was becoming more competitive. As predator communities became more efficient, carcasses didn't last as long. The bone-crushing advantage that made Daeodon valuable at a kill site mattered less when there were fewer bones to crush in the first place. There's also the metabolic math to consider. A 1,200-pound predator requires substantial caloric intake. Estimates suggest somewhere around 20,000 to 30,000 calories per day to maintain body mass and activity levels. That's roughly 50 to 75 pounds of meat daily. In a changing ecosystem with prey getting harder to catch and competition getting worse, maintaining that intake becomes progressively more difficult. Miss too many hunts, lose too many carcasses to competitors, and the energy equation stops working. Daeodon didn't go extinct because it was poorly designed. It went extinct because its design, however successful for millions of years, became increasingly mismatched to a changing world. The flexibility that had been its strength, the ability to hunt, scavenge, and supplement with plants, couldn't compensate for fundamental shifts in its environment and the rise of more specialized competitors. Walk past a pig pen today, and it's almost impossible to connect those domesticated animals with something like Daeodon. Almost. Watch a feral hog sometime, the wild descendants of escaped domestic pigs that have reverted to more natural behaviors. They're aggressive, intelligent, capable of running at surprising speeds, and possess a bite strong enough to cause serious damage. They're omnivorous opportunists that will eat virtually anything from roots to carrion to, occasionally, live prey. They're remarkably successful invasive species in many parts of the world precisely because of their adaptability. Now, scale that up to 1,200 pounds, sharpen the teeth, and strengthen the jaws. You're starting to glimpse what Daeodon might have been. Modern pigs retain echoes of their predatory ancestry. The wild boars of Europe and Asia are formidable animals that can be genuinely dangerous. Peccaries in the Americas, though smaller, are tough and aggressive when threatened. Even domestic pigs, when hungry enough, have been known to scavenge or kill smaller animals. The genetic toolkit for predatory behavior never fully disappeared. It just got dialed way down. The Ice Age gave us monsters with claws, jaws, and bodies built for megafauna. Big cats, dire wolves, short-faced bears, even bear dogs. Things that look like a mistake that shouldn't exist. But there's one question nobody asks. If nature could make all of that, why are there no true big dogs today? Where's the apex canine the size of a lion? If that question just clicked in your head, good. That's exactly what we're getting into next. This is RoaringEcho. Thank you for watching.